Pablo Escobar declared war on the Colombian state in the 1980s, spreading terror in Colombia and flooding the streets of the United States with drugs. His only weakness, his family, especially his two children, Juan Pablo Escobar Henao, now 44 years old, and Manuela Escobar Henao, 37. Manuela Escobar Henao was born on May 25, 1984, the daughter of Pablo Escobar and his wife María Eugenia Henao, as the younger of their two children. Manuela lived like a princess when her father was alive. Pablo, considered one of the most feared drug traffickers and individuals in the world, was an affectionate father at home, who spoiled his two children and literally did everything possible to fulfill their wishes. When they were hiding with their family on the mountainside of Medellín, Manuela's father burned piles of dollar bills worth around $2 million to protect her from hypothermia. He also gave her the unicorn he had gifted her for Christmas, and they had to appear at the request of the boss with a white horse to which they attached a horn under its mane using staples and long paper wings to its torso. The animal died as a result of an infection. The zoo in the renowned Nápoles estate, which the drug lord built for the enjoyment of his only daughter, her father always used his particular wit to make the little princess perceive these violent and extreme situations as childhood adventures. Manuela knew what it was like to escape with her family, and she found it a fascinating game. On more than one occasion, in the hideouts the family used to evade the search block, Escobar would paint little mouse whiskers on her face and tell her they were mice that had to distract the lurking cats. The public last saw Pablo Escobar's daughter at the funeral of the drug lord before she, her brother, and her mother went into exile in Argentina due to threats from her father's enemies. Juana Manuela had a slight hearing problem as a result of the war her father had with the Cali cartel, and she and her family were attacked in the Monaco building located in Medellín. Manuela's life took a radical turn when her father was killed in a shootout with the Colombian National Police on December 2, 1993. She had to leave behind all the opulence of her life and flee Colombia in 1994 with her mother, María Henao, and her brother, Juan, in order to escape reprisals from her father's enemies. The family first fled to Mozambique and then to Brazil, moving from country to country seeking asylum. They eventually arrived in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on tourist visas and finally settled there as Colombian exiles. She began her new life as Juana Manuela Marroquín Santos in Argentina with her mother and brother, who also adopted new names. The girl was so attached to her father that she would sleep with the shirt Pablo wore on his last day, and she used to keep a piece of his beard under her pillow. After her father's death, people remembered him as an affectionate and creative man with his daughter, a creator of fantasies meant to surprise her in her daily life, like when he took her to the cartel's hideouts and opened hidden doors by saying, "Open sesame," revealing vaults filled with millions of dollars. Manuela believed her father was the kindest man in the world, almost like a superhero. Her dad was so great that he made her believe that the tooth fairy was a millionaire named Perez and that he left briefcases full of dollars in exchange for a lost tooth. When she was 5 years old, the drug lord had given her so much money that she thought she had won the jackpot 6 times over. He would tell her that she had magical powers. However, the confusion of learning about her father's actions led her into a deep depression that even resulted in a suicide attempt. The family had a peaceful life in Argentina, thanks to their anonymity. Both children enrolled in a school in Buenos Aires, where they made friends and had a relatively normal life far removed from their past. Manuela would take the bus to school and had many friends, a far cry from their days of fleeing in Medellín. In their school, the teachers asked the students to choose the protagonists of the 20th century. Some opted for Einstein, others for Hitler. Manuela chose Chaplin, while a classmate chose Escobar, the drug lord of the 20th century. She listened in silence as her father was portrayed, no one guessing that his daughter was right there. She had such talent for singing that Piero, who was the Secretary of Culture of Buenos Aires at the time, tried to get her to participate in a choir he directed. However, in 1999, it became public knowledge that the Marroquín siblings were truly the children of Pablo Escobar. But when things started to normalize, one of her mother's business partners discovered her true identity, after which Henao fled with her earnings. Henao was located and imprisoned for a year and a half while her accounts were investigated. Since the authorities couldn't find any association of her finances with illegal activities, Henao was released. However, this incident and the revelation of her family's identity once again impacted Manuela's life. Their dream life came crashing down. The blow was so severe that she had to have private lessons in her apartment, just like years before when her father kept her hidden in a bunker for protection. Manuela suffered the most when her true parentage was revealed. The Escobar name had been like a tainted letter, reflecting all the pain and cruelty of the Medellín cartel. She led the life of a middle-class girl, and her friends went to visit her at apartment 17, where she has been living for 8 months, to greet her and show solidarity, but she refused to see them. Occasionally, she would accept a phone call, but nothing more. She lives locked away, and she was seen leaving only once, accompanied by a woman, getting into a taxi. It was the day she visited her mother in the cell, but she returned devastated. Since then, she hasn't ventured out. She lives with an aunt, a Colombian employee, her sister-in-law, and no one else. She hardly sleeps, and the sobs of her sleepless nights can be heard from her room. The confinement has made her withdrawn and sensitive. On the day her mother and brother decided to face the world, she refused to provide any statement or appear on television or show her face in any photograph. She wanted the world to forget about her, to erase her past and let her be reborn with a new name and identity. Little is known about Manuela because she has chosen to keep her life private, and she has every right to do so. She wants people to understand and allow her to live in peace. She is not active on social media and seems content living a quiet life with her new identity, far from the dark shadows of her past. After many years, the only existing photo of adult Manuela, taken in early 2019, shows her wearing a gray hoodie in a loose white blouse, leaving a hotel in Palermo, Argentina, accompanied by her mother. Manuela has decided to keep her life very private and silent. Therefore, there is no information about her romantic relationships or whether she has children at 35 years old of age, 27 years after her father was gunned down. The hero of Manuela remains a legend that Colombia wants to forget, and perhaps one that she has tried to leave behind in the past. As she walks in the light of the king's eyes, she wants to go unnoticed, with that indulgent gaze hiding a burden and the sadness that permeates her steps. My sister is not a public figure. She enjoys her privacy and the privilege of leading a normal life. She owes nothing to anyone and lives peacefully among us and those who love her. We respect her privacy, stated Juan Sebastián Marroquín in an Instagram post. And so, Manuela Escobar Henao continues to guard her privacy, avoiding the spotlight and living her life on her own terms. She has chosen to distance herself from the notorious legacy of her father and find solace in anonymity. The scars of her past remain, but she strives to move forward and create a new path for herself, away from the shadows of her father's actions. Tell us what you think about this great story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. Until the next video.